Yo, what's up everybody, 1.yesss here, bringing you That Time I Got Reincarnated as a Slime, OVA. This is episode 1 of the OVA that we got. This was a really funny OVA. It was a beach episode OVA. It basically starts off with Rimuru, and he's getting like tug of war right now on him because of the princess and Xian, and they basically playing tug of war because they both want him to hold on to him like a plushie like they always do. And what they're doing this time, he's like, I gotta find a way to get these girls off me all the time, and so they can stop fighting over me. And he thought, okay, maybe I can make them both a body double of myself. But then he started thinking if he did that, everyone in the village would want one. So he was like, no, I can't do that, gotta be something else. So he thought of the idea, why not make bean cushions of himself and make a whole bunch and then sell them out so everyone can be able to get one. Of course, the first two to get one is going to be Xian and the princess for free, so they can leave him alone and stop, always fighting over him. So he's like, okay, I gotta see how I can make this. So he talks to the princess, and she was like, he's trying to explain the material that he needs. And she's like, oh, so you need spandex. And he was like, oh my god, you knew what that was? And she was like, oh, no, that was just my instance. And Rimuru was like freaked out, like, woman's instincts are scary. Then after that, he went to talk to the dwarves. And we get to see that. That's pretty cool, seeing the dwarves again. And the dwarves told him about what he needed to put in the beanbags, the little sands. And they told him a lake where he could find a sand that's similar to what he's describing. But issue is, there's a monster there that likes to grab people's foot and drag them down. So you gotta be careful. And Rimuru was like, I doubt if anyone's gonna attack us, especially as powerful as we are, but thank you for the lookout. So he tells everyone in the main cast, hey, we're all gonna go to the beach to have a luncheon to get some materials. But he doesn't say why. But since he added lunch in there and a picnic, everyone was like super happy. And we get to see all the ogres again. We get to see Gabaru and his people and his sister. We get to see the orcs. Who else are there? No, not the orcs. We saw Benihime and his sister, the old man, So, and then we have them. We have Ragnar. We have Gabaru and his people. Gupta, we see him, he's there, he's also there. That's basically it. Melum is not there, so for some reason, because remember she left to take care of Demon Lord business. But as they get there and they see the place and it's really, really beautiful, remember was like, let's have our picnics now before we get to work. So they, all eating there and everything, and we got this really heavy funny moment, hilarious, when Benihime was supposed to stop Xian from cooking, her cooking's terrible, and he wasn't able to stop her, nobody else was, and she really wanted to make him lunch, and she has this really big silver pot that's covered, but the bottom, it looks like there's magma come out of it and ooze. And Rimuru was like super scared, and when she put it down on the floor, it melted inwards. And she's like, I had a feeling that was gonna happen. That's why I prepared you a second lunch. And she took out a rice ball. But the rice ball was oozing with this purple aura. And when she uncovered it for Rimuru to eat it, it was funny because it had like this evil face. Like the rice ball looked like an evil Rimuru. It had like this evil aura, and it was just screaming. And Rimuru was like, he freaked out. And Xian was like, here, take a bite, but she fell into the hole that she just made, and she ended up dropping the rice ball, and it kept on rolling downhill. And she was like, someone grab it. And Gabaru was like, oh, I got this. But when he saw the face of the rice ball, he got freaked out, and he just flew off. And the rice ball basically sank into the ocean, because that's where they fell. And Xian got really mad at Gabaru, and she went to chase him down. And he was going to try to run away, but he did something earlier that his sister got mad, so she paid him back. And what he did was, he ate some egg and some other stuff that was meant for So. So, since she was still upset at him, she tripped him. And he got caught by Xian, and it was done for him. It was a wrap. He got 1, 2, he's out. And all 3 of his boys are out too, because they overate. So that was some funny moment there. But then, as you see in my 3 thumbnail pics, we get where they all had to switch their clothes because they're all gonna, go swimming into the lake. And we get the scene where we get to see all the females there in their bikinis. And it was a really good fan service point when it came to that point. But then Rimuru was like, wait a minute. He did this exactly for the girls, but what did he do for the guys since they didn't give him orders? And when Rimuru turned around, they all had spandex on, and Rimuru was just on the floor, just, It's hilarious. But the best person, hands down, was Ragnar. He looked just super cute, and he was like a mascot plushy dog. That was funny. That was kind of cool. That I would actually purchase as one of my dolls from my anime collection if I had seen that online. That I would have to look up later, but they all went in the water. And before they went, every time they go into the water, Merlin come, and she's really upset because Rimuru didn't invite her. And Rimuru was like, whoa, but you was taking care of business, so I didn't want to bother you when you taking care of business. And she's like, I don't care about that. If it would have been a picnic and lunch, I definitely would have dropped that to come over here. And she just gave him like a pout face. So he apologized, and she was like, well, let's go in the water. And Rimuru was like, but you don't have no swimwear. She's like, oh, I don't need that. And she was going to take off everything. And Rimuru, of course, got in the way, like, wait, no, you can't do that in front of the viewers. I mean, he didn't say viewers, but he was looking right at us when he was like, don't look, guys. So he was definitely talking to us. I don't think he was talking to, like, his people. I think he was just talking to us. Or it could be a double translation. He's talking to both, depending on how you intercept, that scene. But it was hilarious. So she basically cast this weird magic on herself with her armor. She has the same armor on, but her leggings disappear and that the armor become a different tissue. They become spandex, so that way she can actually go swimming. So Rimuru was like, well, you still look the same, but at least it's fine. Now you can swim with us. So now they go swimming. And when they get halfway to the salt that's in the middle of the ocean, of that lake, something actually pulls Rimuru down. And he gets out of it easily, but when he goes back up, he sees everyone else is captured. All those powerful people of his, especially Merlin, she's there, they all get captured. And we have like tentacle, like hentai things going on up there. And he started glowing. But then when he looked at the guys and he sees the same thing, he's like, shameful. So he goes downstairs of the ocean way to talk to the creature. And the creature looks really, really in pain and sick. And he finds out why. This creature actually ate the rice ball that was dropped in there earlier from Shion, and that got him sick. So what he did was he splashed a whole bunch of high potions on it to, recuperate his HP and his feelings, and it worked. And he let everyone go peacefully. Problem was solved. And Rimuru was like, you lonely, aren't you, being all down here by yourself? And he says yes. And this just brings back a memory of Verdora and, other things that happened in episode 1, and we had Rimuru's flashback with that, which was a really nice callback to see that. And then he states, well, I can keep coming back to visit you if you want. And the creature was very happy and excited. So he took Rimuru back to the top, to the salt lake where everyone else was at. And everyone lost all their clothes because his tentacle was made of acid as well and poison. So all the clothes melted off. And Rimuru was like, yay, when he looked at the girls, but when he looked at the boys, he was like, oh, not again. And it was just a little funny moment seeing that. Even though when it comes to Ragnar, he's always technically naked. So, I mean, he's a dog. So, but then she took out her sword, and the sword, of course, was covering her front parts, where her back parts were being covered by Gupta, who was behind her, just looking into the distance, if you know what I mean. And she was about to slay this creature, and Rimuru was like, no. He got sick, and he went on a rampage and lost control of his power. It's not his fault. Let's just forgive him, and he did bring me up here, so everything's cool now. She was like, okay, if you say so. Then she was like, but what did he get sick from? And he didn't want to say what it was. But then something started to scream behind him, and when he looks, the rice ball was actually rose upwards and started talking. And he basically one-shots it with magic, and he blows it off somewhere. We're not sure if it dissolved or it got blasted off, but it was funny. And everybody was like, oh, that's what did it. And Shion and the princess was like, ready? And it was very funny, and they gathered the salt and whatever, and they went back to the village, and they made the body pillows for everybody, or body cushions. Unfortunately, even though Shion and the princess took it home, and they love it, and they do sleep with it, and they use it a lot, issue is nothing beat the real thing, and we ended up going back to the same old thing again. The way the episode started is the same way it ended, with Shion and the princess fighting over Rimuru. And you have Ben and Henry just there like, with Soya shaking their heads, and he was like, nothing beats the real thing. Then So just disappears like a ninja, and Benny Henry, he goes back to his duties as being general of the place. And that was the end of the episode. Again, it was a really quick fast episode. It was fan servicey all the way and really funny, but it is a beach episode of Reincarnated as a Slime, OVA 1. I believe we should have 2 more left, if I'm not mistaken. And season 2 is greenlit, so we are gonna get it. But I'm not sure if it's gonna be 2019 winter or 2020 winter. But we're getting it back in the winter time, so if we don't get it this winter, then we'll probably get it next winter. But it's gonna be coming back soon, so don't worry, guys. And when it does come out, I am going to review it again. So make sure you stay tuned and like, comment, and share, and all that good stuff, and hit the notification bell. But yeah, that's all I have for you. Really, really good episode. Really enjoyable. I liked it. Tell me down below what you like and didn't like. How do you feel about the OVA? Do you even watch OVAs? This one was actually pretty good and hilarious. But that's all I have for you. Peace and have a good one.